Welcome to the Northwest Rally Association's virtual drivers meeting. I'm Keto.
I'm Katie. We are the co-founders of the Northwest Rally Association, and we are going to kick it off today with some of the protocols for a race in our COVID world. So we are going to go through some requirements for participating in this race, some things you're going to need to do ahead of time. So bear with us, and then we're going to get to our standard drivers meeting business. So first things first, we're going to need you to wear a mask at all times, except for when you're in your car. But anytime you are outside of your car, be sure you're wearing that mask, have it cover your nose and mouth so it's effective. Be sure to stay 6 feet from anyone who does not live in your household, so good physical distancing. Don't spread your cooties with anybody else. We will have hand washing stations and hand sanitizer around the event. Be sure to use them. You can bring your own, whatever works for you. We're asking that no one bring extra guests, and this event will not be open to spectators. So you can bring someone from your household, a partner, a child, whoever it might be, but please keep it to one person. Let's just keep the attendance down so everyone's safe. Prior to the race, you will need to sign a digital waiver. We will make a list of everyone who has signed the waiver. If you haven't signed, you will not be allowed onto the property. So this is really serious. We're doing everything we can to avoid contact. So be sure you get that waiver signed before you show up. We're asking that people not share helmets. We won't be offering loaner helmets, so be sure to bring yours. If you have someone in your family who's gonna come and ride along, they need to bring their own as well. We always require that people wear reflective vests out on the course when they're course working. And so if you have your own orange reflective vest, feel free to bring it. Please don't bring other colors. Orange is the color of course working. And we're gonna do some extra things just to try and keep things healthy and safe. So we won't have people sharing radios. We'll have an extra set of radios for when we switch over course workers. We won't be sharing vests. We'll have an extra set of vests so that people won't be sharing vests. Just anything we can do like that. Tech inspection is going to run a little bit differently. Keto, can you talk us through that?
So for tech inspection, you'll follow the signs to where tech is. Tech will be a single lane. We'll keep you guys spaced out apart from each other. We want you to stay in your car. We will do all the outside tech inspection while you remain in your vehicle. We want your vehicle to be race ready, so it needs to be ready to go. It needs to have any loose items removed, floor mats removed, spare tire removed, ready to go. You need to have your helmet with you, and then you also need to bring your driver's license because you're going to be going straight from tech directly to registration with your car. Somebody will come pick up your license, get you registered, and then you will loop back around into the paddock to do any final preparations before the race.
Yep. So it's a lot of things to think about. It's new to how we run events. So thank you all for your patience and for your understanding. These are the things we need to do to be compliant so that we can keep having races. So it's super important that we all just get on board and make it happen. So thank you for being a part of this effort and for, as always, being a part of our event. Let's talk about regular drivers meeting things, non-COVID related. So when you show up to the event, when you hit the gate, we'll check you in, and the person at the gate will tell you where to go. You'll set up your paddock area, and you'll get ready for tech inspection. So Keto talked about this already, all the things that you will take out of your car, get yourself ready to go. Talk a little bit about what the actual tech inspection points are that they should be ready for.
So when you could get there for tech inspection, one of the things we'd like you to do is make sure that you have your hood already popped. If you have hood pins, make sure that you remove them. Also, the same with your trunk. Make sure the trunk is popped. If there's pins holding that or safety latches, make sure that is released. We're going to go under hood. We're going to check and make sure that you have a positive throttle return. We're going to make sure that your battery positive terminal is covered and isolated. We're going to make sure the battery itself can't wiggle around. Then we're going to walk around the vehicle. We're going to shake each wheel and tire assembly to check for any loose ball joints or wheel bearings. We're going to walk around the car, make sure all your loose items are removed. And then we're going to ask to see your helmet visually. We don't want to touch it. We want you to show us the Snell rating that's usually on the inner liner. At which point we're going to give you a sticker that you're going to put on the left side of your helmet. And then that way we will not have to inspect your helmet anymore this year. We'll see the sticker, we'll know you're good to go.
We also do a sound check. So we use a decibel reader to make sure that you're within our guidelines, fully outlined in our rules.
That's right. We do a sound check once a year also. Your car will also get a sticker. If you've changed your exhaust at all whatsoever, you will need to have a new sound check. If you have a sound check, you change your exhaust, you don't get it sound checked again, that disqualifies you from competition points. So if it's found out that you did a change without that inspection, any points that you've gained will be removed from the series. So we're just trying to get the sound check, make sure everybody's in compliance, the neighbors are happy, everybody's happy, and we can just keep racing.
So they let us come back.
Right.
Okay, so once you pass tech, you'll go check in at registration. So we call it registration, but you've actually already signed up online in advance of the event. We don't do race day registration. You come with your ID, and we verify that you have a valid driver's license. That is a requirement. We get you checked in, we confirm your number and your class to make sure you're good for competition. And at that point, because you've planned ahead, left yourself sufficient time to do a course walk. So walk the course as many times as you can before the race starts. As much as you can see it before we get going will benefit you.
That's right. Course walk is not required. However, it is very highly suggested. And I will tell you, the fast guys walk the course multiple times.
Yes. And then our events are run with a work-run format, which means half of the day you're racing, half of the day you are working. Generally, your work assignment will be out on course shagging cones or helping at timing or start, finish, something of that nature. So keep that in mind. Be where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be there, whether that's at grid when it's your class's turn to run, whether that's at your work assignment when it's time for your work assignment. It's really important to just be where you're supposed to be so that the event can keep going. We can get you as much seat time as possible.
That's right.
Our races are run with a cumulative time scoring system. So you'll get a certain number of laps on the course. We total up your time plus any penalties accrued from hitting cones, which we will get to later. And there are no dropped runs.
That's correct.
Yeah?
Yep.
We take tractor breaks. Talk us through the tractor brake system. It's a little
Yeah.
new.
So this year, what we decided to do is we're doing tractor breaks on a car count. Any particular race, we're going to work with the venue. We're going to figure out ahead of time how many cars can go through before the course starts degrading. We're going to have a counter, and when we hit that number, we're going to do a tractor break. That number should fall randomly somewhat. Reruns are counted, each run is counted, so if somebody gets halfway through a run and has to come back, we count that as a run, so we'll tally it again. So it'll be very hard to predict where it goes. We also have a little bit of a buffer in there that is pre-decided. So if, for example, we're going to do it at 100, if we have an opportunity to do it at 90, we will take that opportunity to do it at 90, so that we're not stopping course twice. So we will be tractoring, and again, it will be based on a car count. So it may fall mid-class, it may not fall mid-class, we don't know. It's just going to be random, and it's just luck of the draw.
And it's designed to be fair, no matter
That's
where
correct.
you are staged in your class.
That's right.
Instead of like the first person always getting a perfectly groomed course and the last person
Correct.
not.
Correct. Yes, we wanted to make it a little more random.
Yes.
So, sorry or not sorry if it lands right in front of you.
Last but not least, we will take a lunch break. We'll have an hour-long lunch break. The tractor team will take that time to really clean up the course. You should eat lunch and be ready for either your afternoon race session or your afternoon work assignment.
Yep, just be aware of the time
Yes.
when we're going to get started again.
Yep.
All right, so next up, let's talk about general safety, okay, just safety of the event. First of all, no guns, no drugs, no alcohol during the event. In car, if you have a cell phone and you want to record, make sure it is on a fixed mount. There will be no handheld cell phones. If we see you holding, or your co-driver, which shouldn't be too many of them this time, holding a phone, that will be a red flag, and that will be issued as a DNF, as an unsafe run. Also,
on that note, so it is on you to make sure your passenger knows they may not be holding a phone because you will be the one to
That's
get
right.
a DNF if they are.
That's right.
So-
You, as the driver, are pilot in command. You are the one who is required to, you know, follow all the rules, make sure that they are followed in the vehicle you are piloting. You know, at all times, even in the pit, wherever, you are the one responsible, the driver.
Yep.
So, windows up. So wherever there is a person, so if there is a driver, the driver window needs to be all the way up enough so you can't put 2 fingers width through. All the other windows can be open if it's only the driver. If you have a passenger in the front seat and they're only allowed in the front seat, they're not allowed in the back seat, then the passenger side window must also be up enough so that you can't fit 2 fingers width through the opening in the window. Back windows can be open. I will warn you, if you have all the other windows open, you're probably going to collect about 5 pounds worth of dust through your run. And so there's that.
It's a personal choice.
Yeah. So when you get up to the line, it is up to you to make sure that your window is up. It is up to you to make sure that your helmet is on. It is up to you to make sure that your seatbelt is on and fixed. Also, if they release you from the line with those off and it's seen out on course, they will red flag you. It is not the starter's job or anybody else's job to make sure that all these are done. It is the pilot in command.
Awesome. Let's talk about cones.
Yeah, let's talk about cones.
We have some.
So, we delineate the course, we mark it all off with cones, okay? They're all gonna be 18 inches high like these ones, except for at start and finish, where we will have taller cones. So, when you see the cones out on course, they are marked as gates. So if you have cones and they are wide enough for a car to pass through the middle, this is a gate, the car must pass between these 2 cones. If you pass around the outside of the cone, it is a 10-second penalty. If you hit one of the cones, it is a 2-second penalty. We also have gates that are set up as pointers. So you'll see a cone like this and another cone laid down next to it like this, okay? This cone here is telling you which way to go. You must pass to this side of the cone. If you pass to this side of the cone, it is a 10-second penalty. If you hit this, it is a 2-second penalty. The reason it's not 4 seconds is any cone that's laid over on the side as a pointer does not count as a penalty. You can also see multiple pointers around a corner and they'll be laid down something like this. And the idea is that as you come around an element, you see this, it tells you you're going to be going that direction. These cones do not count. They should not count against you if you hit them, and if you're working the course, you also should not count them. We also can have a slalom. A slalom is where the cones are laid out like this. Obviously, they're going to be further apart, but you will alternate going around it. If the first cone in a slalom does not have a pointer gate, like this, then that means that it's optional. If it has this, it is non-optional. It means that you must start on this side and then alternate going around the slaloms. Okay?
Will you clarify optional? If it doesn't have a pointer, what can they do?
You can go to either side of the first cone, but you must then alternate sides. So if you go to the right side, then you must go to the left side of the second cone. If you go to the left side on the first one, then you must go to the right side on the second, and then so on and so forth. Penalties, as we went over, if you hit a standing one, it is 2 seconds for each one that you hit. If you go to the wrong side of the gate, it is a 10-second penalty. If you go to the wrong side of 3 gates, it is considered a DNF, okay?
What if they just knock it, but it doesn't go anywhere?
So, yes, that's actually a very good question. So there is an imaginary box around the base of the cone. And if they hit it and it moves and it teeters and it stays inside the box, any part of it, that doesn't count as a penalty. Okay? But if they knock it and it remains upright, but it's outside and it's displaced outside of its original footprint, then it counts as a penalty. Okay? The other thing that will count as a penalty is if a car goes by and the roost of dirt coming off of the wheels knocks it over, then that also counts. And I also would like to just be really clear about this, that as a worker, I know we're going to cover this later, just make sure you actually saw the cone fall over, as opposed to car drove by, there's a cone that's on the side, must have been him. If you're not sure, don't call it in. Okay. Also, if you are a driver and you come up upon a gate and the cone is on its side and it's in your way, then you have the option of stopping and pointing to that cone, at which point you will get a rerun. You also have an option of just driving straight through it. If that cone's on the ground already, it doesn't count against you. So it is up to you. What you can't do is there's a cone down, you drive through it, you screw up on some other section, then you stop and finish and be like, I need a rerun because back there. Nope, once you've driven past this and entered into the next element, then I'm sorry, you've accepted the course as it was. Okay, there's no coming back. But if you come to a stop, point to it, course worker should acknowledge it, at which point you finish driving through the course. At the end, we will let you have a rerun for the course not being the way it is supposed to be. Okay?
Most of our courses have a stop box at the finish line.
Yes, we do.
The stop box is designed to slow you down and get you back under control before you proceed into the grid or other open areas.
Yes. So yeah, the stop box at the end of the finish trigger, we have a stop box. The idea is an opportunity for you to get red mist out. What we want you to do is we want you to come to a complete stop. That means wheels must stop turning, but it also means momentum must stop. So don't think you can just lock up all four wheels, skid past it, and that counts, because it doesn't. I need a full complete stop. I need you to take just a quick sec and then move on, because there's another car coming hot behind you, and so I want you to get out of there. I do want you to know that the stop box is usually very, very cone heavy, and I want you to know that that is part of the course, and every cone counts. Technically, according to the rules, anything within 50 feet of the course also counts. Any cones that are out there. So just be aware of that as well. But the stop box will have a ton of cones. You will never win a race blowing through a stop box. Okay? It will cost you so much time that you will definitely lose your race, and that is done on purpose. We need you to slow down, come to a stop inside the stop box. It is part of the course, just to be clear. Okay?
Awesome. Let's talk about what to do if you see a red flag when you're driving.
Okay, yes.
Ooh, where's the red flag?
Red flag's right here. Okay? As a driver,
Wait, you're the driver. I'll wave it.
you see a red flag, you should come to a stop on course as quickly and as safely as you can. That doesn't mean that you go lock up all four wheels and go skidding off the track. No, come to a complete stop, stop on course, wait. A course worker will come up to you and they will tell you what to do. It'll be something along the lines of either turn around, go straight back to start, or drive the rest of the course at parade lap speed, or some other direction that they will give you, okay? You can get a red flag for being off course yourself, or if you have a D-bead, which I will cover here in just a sec, or if there is a car ahead of you that is having an issue and that you'll come up upon on course or stop. They want to shut you down before you get to there. Okay? So, again, I need you to come to a complete stop and wait. If you pass 2 red flags, that will earn you a conversation with me. If you pass 3 red flags, you will get a DNF. Okay? You will just, that run will be DNF. You will not get a rerun. It will be end of story for that run. Okay? So, let's talk about the D-bead. D-bead, you get 1 free D-bead per race. Okay, so if you knock the tire off the rim and it loses air, what we don't want is you to drive the course, get the wheel to dig in, and the car to roll over. So if you're a course worker, you see a flat tire, you call it in and you red flag them, at which time we'll get them back to course at a safe, or back to paddock at a safe speed. Your second D-bead will be a DNF. Your first D-bead will also count towards your 10-minute timeout. So you can take a timeout 10 minutes for any reason whatsoever, if it's a mechanical or if it's anything like that, I suggest that you save it for, you know, an eventuality. However, you can use it at any time you like. If you're feeling flustered, you can take a 10-minute. However, you must let either the chief of paddock or timing know that you're taking that 10 minutes. That 10 minutes?
Chief of grid,
Sorry. Chief of grid or registration. That 10 minutes starts when it is your turn at the line. That's when the clock starts ticking, right? So you can call for a 10-minute, go away, come back. If you never use it, then you can actually take it back. If your time was never clicked into, you know, it was never your time to get started.
we wait to start the time until it's your turn to go.
That is correct.
But you have to let us know, or else you just don't show up for your run. It's a DNF.
Yeah, if you just think that we're magically gonna get it through osmosis, then you're probably gonna magically through osmosis get a DNF. Is probably how that's gonna work. So, yeah. So, get to course working.
Let's talk about course working. We've talked a lot about the course workers.
Yes.
Okay. Half of your day will be spent working. Most of you will be out on course, shagging cones. When you're out on course, a reflective vest is always required. You will have a captain with you at your corner station who has a red flag and a radio. We'll get to that in a minute. When you're out on course, be on your feet. Keep your eyes on the cars. Watch every single car go by for the reason Keto already mentioned, which is you want to see them. If they hit a cone, you want to watch it happen. But you also want to be sure that you are watching the cars go by. You know if anything happens. And if something happens, you are ready to react and move.
And you want to give the same level of attention to other people that you yourself expect out on course.
Yes.
You want people to be accurate with your calls. You yourself should be accurate with other people's calls.
This is true. No cell phones, no cameras. You're there to work. You're not there to create social media content. We have media folks to do that for us and for you. When you're out there, spread out. So you want to make sure that your particular corner is sufficiently covered and that you've worked with the next corner over to make sure you know where your responsibilities end and their responsibilities start. The same is true of your cones. You want to be sure you know where all of your cones are. You want to know how far apart they are. So for slaloms specifically, be sure you pace it out and count the steps between the cones. But make sure you also know where those cones were placed so when one gets knocked over, you put it back where it was. Yeah. Simply moving a cone an inch every run over the course of a day can actually create a really unsafe environment. We've seen it happen. So it's on you guys to have great attention to detail and make sure that happens.
One little tip, if you have a cone that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any reference for it, off course, not in the course, but off the course, off to the side, I often will put down a little stone and I put another stone somewhere else, and then I know that the intersection of those two is right where the cone goes, so that I have a reference. If that cone gets hit and dragged 50 feet down, I know right back where it goes, you know, because I have those other markers. So that's just a little suggestion for you guys as well. That, you know, if you have a cone that's not just, you know, kind of in outer space.
Yep. So when a car goes by, you see the cone get hit, you signal to your captain, so be sure you always have line of sight to them. Let them know one cone, whatever it might be, go and put the cone back where it was. If you do not feel safe, as in there is another car coming too close and you don't think you can get that cone back to where it was in enough time and get out of the way, just leave it. There's two things we can do there. That driver who's coming through, they can stop, point to the cone, get a rerun, as Keto talked about. But we also can space the cars out a little further if this happens. You know, we can be sure that you guys have safe time to get it back.
So if you feel like the cars are coming too quick and this has happened once or twice, make sure you get on the radio with us. And what we'll do is we'll open the gap up a little bit between cars, because safety is first, and your safety going and getting the cones is paramount.
Yes.
And if you do not feel like there's a question, hey, in my mind it's 50-50, don't. Just don't. We can do a rerun, you know, we can't fix broken legs, you know, so, you know, so just, don't. We can catch it on the next one.
Yep.
And we do our best to space out, but especially towards the end of the track, often cars are catching other cars, and we can leave a big gap and they can still catch them. And, you know, if that's happening or you see that again, get on the radio with us and we can add more space between those particular vehicles, you know, to make it safe.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you are a captain.
Yes.
You have a radio, and you are holding your red flag, all nicely wound up, but you're holding it.
Mm-hmm.
Should there be an incident,
Mm-hmm.
it's there at your side.
Yep, I keep it next to my side.
Not in the bucket far
No.
away.
And don't use it, hey, you see, look at that guy going by.
That has
You know.
happened. Yeah, so be sure you keep it tightly wound but available. Always be listening to your radio. If there is a red flag call, we will call it repeatedly over the radio. Sometimes it'll have specific comm stations, and sometimes it'll be the full course. Just be listening, wave the red flag, wait for instructions, and go tell that person what to do, as we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Talk about making good radio calls.
So, radio call on the side, there's a little button, push to talk. Wait, first of all, for clear air. If somebody else is talking, please don't push the button. When you do, push that button, hold it down for a second, then make your call, okay? So, push button, wait a second, then call. Comm station 3, 1 cone, car 128, comm station 3. Then, a little birdie will talk back to you. Just a little birdie. Sometimes. So, they'll call back, tell you comm 3, thank you. If you don't hear a call back, you can repeat that call or call into timing and say, did you get my call? Sometimes two of you guys will not unknowingly push the button at the same time and talk, and magically we don't hear either one of you. So, make sure that your call gets heard, that we respond. We'll do our best to get back to you on that. With that. Again, comm captain should have it, so if you're the captain, make sure you're looking at your workers so that they can give you a signal that a cone is down, or you can, have this red flag ready to go in your hand, that if there's a red flag called, you can unfurl it and start waving it vigorously at the drivers.
Yep. And on the note of radios, we do a radio check before we start racing in every session. So the expectation is that we go down the line with comm 1, 2, 3, so on. We just do a quick check-in, let us know you hear us, and that's your time to work out any issues with your radio, that sort of thing. So that happens as well.
Yep. So as a comm captain, when you go out on course, you should make sure you have a radio, you have a red flag, you have a bucket with a fire extinguisher. Please look at the label, or not the label, but the little indicator on the fire extinguisher, and please make sure that it is in green.
We
Yes.
check them before the race, but it's always good
We
to
do,
give
but yeah,
another
it
run.
really sucked to figure it out at when you need it.
Yep.
So let's figure it out before we need it.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. At the event, we have Wi-Fi on site to allow you to access our scoring system.
That was the magic we've been talking about.
We put instructions up at timing so you can access the Wi-Fi. So when you're done with your run and you want to see your time, that's where you go look for it. So we'll just put it up there. I won't say it all now because it's kind of a mouthful.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you need to clean up after yourself, please and thank you. Leave the area where you were in paddock. Leave your workstation better than you found it. We are stewards of our sport to the people who rent us land, so be sure they are happy having us.
Yes.
The same is true of the community where the event is located. Please be sure to drive safe when you leave. Drive respectfully. Be sure that people respect us and are happy we're here and not angry that we're coming to town.
Yep. Yes, it's really important that we clean up after ourselves. Katie and myself go and look around at the end of the day, and we do occasionally find, like, people sometimes leave their toolbox behind. You know.
And I will
Like,
take this time to mention that we are not a lost and found.
No.
We will end up with so many people's things at
Right.
the end of a season. So
Right.
please just pick up
Yes,
stuff.
yes, and that also includes like your fender liners. You know that you lost your fender liners out on course. Please go find them and get rid of them. Don't, at these events, it's really important. We don't step over garbage, okay? If you're walking along and we see a piece of garbage, we pick it up and we throw it away. I know often we operate at motorcycle tracks and there's those tearaways all the time, so let's just pick those up and make sure we throw all that stuff away.
Just leave it better than we found it.
Yeah.
All right, that's a whole lot of information, but hopefully helpful.
Yes.
And you can rewind and watch it again if it's confusing because
That's right.
this is a video. If you have any questions, though, you can always reach out to us. Email is great, info@nwrallyassociation.com. We're also on Facebook. Facebook messages are just fine. We respond to all those same day as well. So
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you all for being a part of the event. Thank you for racing with us. We'll see you out there.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun.